What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got some more NBA news to talk about with you guys. Again, some more Zach Lavine news. We've actually had quite a bit of Zach Lavine news recently, with a couple teams being interested in him. Obviously, a lot of teams are actually, rumored to believe that he will be requesting a trade very soon, but currently it's actually being reported that the Charlotte Hornets are among teams with interest in trading for Zach Lavine. This is being reported by Legion Hoops. Now, wow, I don't really know how to make, kind of feel this one, because usually I kind of have an idea of if that's a bad trade or not, but honestly, with the spot that the Charlotte Hornets are kind of sitting in, for some reason I feel like that Zach Lavine wouldn't be the worst player to go out and potentially get. For example, they're currently sitting as the 10th seed. They're really going nowhere. I mean, they're literally 4 wins above the 15th seed in the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, to kind of put that in perspective on how close the standings are between, 9th and 15th in the East is pretty insane. But the Charlotte Hornets have again, like a very interesting kind of team right now, as they've got Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier playing as like that double point guard backcourt, which I don't really know if I like that exactly too much. I mean, the Cavaliers do it, and honestly believe Kevin Porter Jr. should probably be starting over Colin Sexton. I think he might actually eventually start over Sexton very soon. Again, the defense isn't exactly there, but it could even be worse with the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, Graham and Rozier, I'm not too sure how I feel about that. But other than that, the team is actually, it's in a very interesting spot. I mean, Graham and Rozier both averaging 18 points per game. And Graham's been a real highlight of this season. I mean, obviously, his improvement from the season before is pretty insane. But they've also got Miles Bridges at small forward, which I really like. PJ Washington at power forward, which again, I really like. And Cody Zeller at center, who I think would probably be better to come off the bench. But I kind of think that they definitely really need a center right now, and kind of not necessarily a shooting guard, but a player to, be confirmed to play in that shooting guard position. And I honestly don't think Zach Lavine would be, the worst kind of player to go out there and, try and get. Yes, they've already got Rozier and Graham, but look, I don't know if they would trade one of these players to get Zach Lavine, and I don't even know if the Bulls would be interested in one of these players. But yeah, I really do like kind of the prospect of, Zach Lavine starting at that shooting guard position. Now, who would they trade? Would they trade Rozier or would they trade Graham? Now, Graham is 25 years of age. Rozier is 26. I believe, yeah, he's like 11 months older than Graham or something like that. I honestly literally don't know who they would prefer to trade. I think it would most likely be Rozier, and Rozier's on a much bigger contract, and Graham does average more assists per game. So again, I think it would be most likely Rozier, but I don't necessarily think it would be the Chicago Bulls to, potentially trade for Rozier. I think that, the Chicago Bulls, they've already got Kobe White, and he didn't get enough opportunity this season. He was already starved for opportunity this season. And yeah, he's 193 centimeters. Yes, you could probably play Kobe White at the shooting guard position, and he's a relatively good defender. But I think it could be that, kind of opportunity to see how he goes at point guard. Look, he only averages 2.7, assists per game. So bringing in Rozier might be an interesting idea. But honestly, yeah, I think giving Kobe White the starting point guard position next season would be a pretty interesting thing to kind of do. Now, what would most likely happen here is, I think that the Charlotte Hornets would look to kind of trade Terry Rozier. I don't necessarily know who, what team would actually really want to trade for Terry Rozier. They could maybe have Terry Rozier play that kind of 6-man type of position. I definitely think that could actually work, but then, there might be a time in the game where you'd have Rozier, Graham, and Lavine all on the same court at once. And I just don't necessarily know if I really like that. You could try and do it, but yeah, they could, I guess play Rozier at that kind of 6-man type of position. But if they were to trade him, I definitely think there could be a couple teams out there that could look to get him. Again, Phoenix and New York were 2 teams that were very interested in him previously. I don't know if they would still be really interested in him at all. Again, they literally could. The Detroit Pistons, who desperately need a point guard, could look to maybe try and trade for him. But yeah, if they were to, make a trade, I'm sure some of those assets would definitely be used maybe to go in like that Zach Lavine trade. Now, what is Zach Lavine necessarily worth? In my opinion, Zach Lavine is an extremely underrated player. I don't necessarily know what would be his kind of worth. I feel like he's around that pick 9 type of mark, something like that. And honestly, it looks like the Charlotte Hornets are going to have a pick that's going to be very similar to that. I do believe they're going to have around pick 7 or 8 if the lottery does go right. So it could just be a straight swap. They could, let's just say they get pick 8. They could literally trade pick 8 for Zach Lavine. And I honestly believe the Chicago Bulls would actually be, pretty happy with a deal like that. I mean, I think Chicago Bulls fans would definitely be a lot more happy if they were able to keep Zach Lavine, because without Zach Lavine this season, I think we all know the Bulls would have been a train wreck. They would have most likely by far been the worst team in the league. I mean, Lauri Markkanen's already had as bad as a season as it is now. I don't know if he would have really been that much better without Zach Lavine on the court. But, again, that would be, I think a lot of Chicago Bulls fans don't really want to see him getting traded. But, unfortunately, if he does request a trade, they might not exactly have that much, choice. Because I believe he does have a season or 2 left on his contract. But if he's not happy at the Bulls, he won't most likely be putting up his best production. And if he's, got one more season left, which I believe he does have a maybe 1 or 2, then yeah, he might even leave just in free agency and they wouldn't get anything back for him at all. So definitely might be the move to potentially trade him now when his value is at its highest and you can potentially get a top 10 pick for him. I definitely think that could be a very interesting one because, yeah, Zach Lavine's had an outstanding year so far this season, a very underrated year. He's averaging 25.5 points per game, 4.8 rebounds, and 4.2 assists on 38% from 3 on 34.8 minutes per game. He's having a very, very nice season, and yeah, again, I think there's going to be a lot of, teams that are going to be competing to try and get Zach Lavine. I've heard the New York Knicks are obviously interested in him. I believe there's a couple teams out there, here and there. And I just don't necessarily know if the Charlotte Hornets would be the best fit. Like, I mean, they signed Terry Rozier on that 3-year deal for a reason. They obviously believed in him, and he's had actually a very decent season with, the Charlotte Hornets. And the Hornets are definitely improving. They just don't exactly really have a bench at all. But yeah, they are really improving. If they could get Zach Lavine and play Terry Rozier at 6-man, I think that would be okay. But I think the preferred, move would actually be to trade Terry Rozier. And it just does make, a lot more sense in my opinion. Now, what teams would trade for Terry Rozier? As I said, I'm not exactly too sure. I think the Pistons would be one of the teams to kind of do it because they really need a point guard. And if they don't draft the point guard, then they're desperately in trouble because I don't know if Derrick Rose and them, I think they should probably be looking to trade Derrick Rose. I think everyone can kind of agree on that. And if they trade Derrick, Rose, their best point guard option would be pretty much Brandon Knight or maybe try and play Jared McRae there or something like that. It's it's not exactly that good at Detroit at the moment. So, again, maybe having Terry Rozier as like that rental point guard for a season or 2 and just pay him the money, again, could be a pretty interesting option by the Detroit Pistons kind of going forward. But yeah, I'm pretty interested about this whole Charlotte Hornets one. I think we haven't really seen Charlotte Hornets make big moves in free agency in quite a while. I feel like there was a huge panic in free agency last time where they kind of felt like, well, they've got literally no players. They've just lost, Kemba Walker. Their players consist of a young Miles Bridges, would literally be, and Malik Monk would have been their only, a relatively decent players. Like, I mean, Graham hadn't developed. He was pretty much a nobody. Terry Rozier wasn't on the team, all that type of stuff. So I feel like they pretty much panicked and offered Terry Rozier the money, just hoping that he was going to be, again, have a pretty decent season, which he did. But I feel like now that the panic's not there, and they've actually, come out of this pretty well. I mean, they ended up getting Graham, who's a decent pickup, who is in his 2nd season, that's really improved. They brought in Rozier. They brought in PJ Washington in the draft. It's starting to look like actually a pretty interesting team. If they can start making some big moves in free agency this year, whether that's maybe going after, who knows, DeMar DeRozan to play at shooting guard, or going to try and trade for Zach Lavine, I think that could be a very interesting thing to kind of see, the Charlotte Hornets do, and finally actually provide, some belief for their fans. So I think that would be a very interesting move to maybe see Lavine on the Charlotte Hornets. But anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for the latest NBA content and NBA news. Definitely don't forget to comment in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? Do you guys think it'd be a good idea, or do you guys think it'd be a bad idea for, the Charlotte Hornets to try and trade for Zach Lavine? Again, I'd definitely really like to know your thoughts and opinions on this all down below. But also don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel, MIRO/vlogging channels. Links for them will all be in the description down below. And definitely don't forget to check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. Links for that will all be in the description down below. But as I was saying, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.